maybe you should. No, I've got to get pizzas to that observatory over there. And so you get attacked by some like smoke monster, and you like the pizzas fall off, and you're like scrambling around, like, oh no, somebody needs the pepperoni.
So I'm swimming through 30-weight motor oil.
Why are these new additions to your game that your intention was to release this fall? What are you doing?
Their primary focus should be surviving litigation.
Someone take his phone. I'll do it. Just give me a key card and a red button that turns off Randy's Wi-Fi.
It pisses me off that they lump racing in with sports. Then you look at this, insert F-bomb, Mario Kart and Sonic Racing lumped in with F125.
An aimless rant. We were just angry.
Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology.
What's up, everybody? We are live and alive, barely. It is episode 52 of the Hardcore Casual Podcast. He is Jay of F1 Podcast fame, and I am Mason of Online Infamy, and we are the conversation at the table behind you. So, couple of things right up front. Get it out of the way. I probably don't sound entirely normal. I'm a bit under the weather, so there's that. It has been a rough, like 4 weeks here at the Hardcore Casual Studios, man. Like, we've all been sick. I mean, like 2 weeks ago, my dad was in the hospital, and then I got to do this, and then I was just beginning to get the flu. Then by last week, my flu was gone, but you were like at Omega level flu. I think people could tell that you did not feel well, but they don't know how bad you. They were like, oh, he probably seems a little sick. He was mega sick. Jay was real sick.
Now I mega feel like $1 million.
That's good. That's good. And then, like, as we were doing that, I was beginning this upper respiratory infection that had been brewing, and so you know how in The Last of Us, that was the whole thing with the zombies was like the length of time that they had been zombified, sort of. That was represented by their different levels and like how gone they were. I'm at like clicker level with this sinus infection.
Clickers,
so
dude.
I'm looking forward to getting done with this. So hopefully we are on the tail end of that. But we are here. We are surviving. It is episode 52. So that means a year. Technically, I guess we hit a year before because we've missed a couple shows here and there with holidays and such. So, but this is the official 52. So we'll celebrate our 52nd episode. But we'll probably have to have some sort of more official 1-year anniversary thing because it's been a rough one. So once we're both feeling like $1 million, we'll do something like that. But so we've got quite a bit going on. I have been a little disconnected, so some of this will be even new to me as Jay has more details than I do on a lot of this stuff for sure. But we have, so Fable was just shown off really for the first time today. So we're going to watch that. I have not watched it yet. Have you watched the gameplay yet?
I have not.
All right, so it'll be...
But I played the shit out of that first Fable game.
Well, so it'll be a first reaction for both of us on this new one. And this has been a thing. It's been brewing for a long time. I mean, a long time. And there are questions, and I guess we will see live on this episode where we think they are at delivering on all of these sort of expectations that they had put on themselves, whether fairly or unfairly. So we'll check that out. Ubisoft is on fire again, as it tends to be so often. We got Starfleet Academy to talk about, which has divided the studio here. And we got some other stuff. The Rip on Netflix, we can talk about that. So we just got a lot of stuff here, with not exactly the most structured this week as I proceed on my recovery. But All right, so that's kind of a bit of the rundown of some of the stuff that we've got on there. And then, of course, it's hardcore casual. We're probably going to go off on tangents and just divert all over the place. That's what we do. That's what we do. We just have the conversations, and we want you to be a part of it. So, get in, listen, or get into the comments. Let us know your thoughts, and talk to us, chat us up. Also, good that we're getting in here before the winter apocalypse happens.
Yeah.
It is Snowmageddon 2.0 is what we're being promised, starting tomorrow. And I've been hoping that maybe it won't be that bad. And then I saw that Ted Cruz had boarded a flight for Florida, and I was like, oh, God, it's happening again. We're doomed. It's really going to hit. So that made it feel real. I didn't realize that it was still an open wound from last time, but it's there.
If you live in Oklahoma, apparently Greenland is the place to be tomorrow, not here, which is odd.
Well, as we all learned from the Mighty Ducks, that Iceland is very nice, but Greenland is the one you got to be afraid of. And whenever Greenland is the preferred place to our area, not great. Not great.
Hey, man,
So-
I got one little shout out tonight before we get
Yeah, let's hit
started
it up.
on everything. Oscar nominations were released today.
Oh, yeah.
And F1 the movie secured 4 Oscar nominations, which I thought they would get 0.
None.
But Best Picture was one of the ones they're nominated
Really?
for. Yes. So
I am
my
shocked
hat's
by
off to Kaczynski and the whole crew, Brad Pitt, Damson Idris, everybody involved in that movie. Honestly, I mean, I'm biased, obviously, but I'd like to see you win a couple of the 4. That would be wonderful. I think that'll speak volumes as far as those types of movies going forward. But getting nominated for Best Picture, man, dude.
Do you know what the other 3
awesome.
were?
One of them was sound, and then there was effects.
Okay, because I was like, if they got to have something to like give them props for all the shots during the races, because that was also masterfully done. We've mentioned it so many times before that say the name for me, the director.
Joseph Kaczynski.
Kaczynski. Okay. Yeah, he is so good at kinetic storytelling. If you want to relay motion and I don't know, this sense of like this where you feel like you're part of it, that's the guy. I mean, Top Gun Maverick, F1 the movie, it's just absolutely incredible. So no, I'm glad that they got it. And also Sinners, I know they got nominated for 16 Oscars, which blew away the previous record of 14, which was held by I think 3 different movies, Titanic being one of them. Now, I think Sinners was a phenomenal movie. I loved it, so happy for them. But yeah, the fact that F1, I'm like you, I figured they would have gotten nothing because they just don't usually care.
I still don't hold out hope that they can win Best Picture because of movies like Sinners, and it depends on what side of the bed the voters get up on, because if it's, hey, let's vote for some kind of indie artsy-fartsy flick, then that Timothy Chalamet ping pong movie will probably win.
I've actually heard that's really good.
Yeah, the 4 nominations, by the way, to be, just to make sure we're accurate on here. Best Picture, Best Sound, Best Film Editing, Best Visual Effects. So
awesome. Well deserved on all of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
really
usually,
sorry.
so many times the Oscars, they just don't. That's why a lot of times I don't really pay attention, because somewhere along the way, like there was a time whenever Lord of the Rings won the Oscar for Best Picture and all that stuff, and it was really like, hey, if something won an Oscar, I cared, and I was like, oh, I need to check this out or what.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's all movies I don't care about, and I think the larger viewing audience doesn't care about. They just ignore. No, go for it.
I was just going to say, I remember the movie The English Patient, and it got 8 Oscar nominations, and it won like 5 of them or something. But it only came to select theaters. There's probably like 100 people got to see that movie.
I've still never seen it.
And, it cleans house, and everybody's like, what even is it? Sort of like Claire Obscure was at the Game Awards for the vast majority of gamers that don't get into complex layered stories with French music. So,
I will say that I would not equate, because I think that one actually did gain a lot of word of mouth, and it became a massive seller for them. So that was an actual commercial success. The English Patient, wasn't. That was not a
Yeah.
commercial success.
Which they
So-
weren't even going for. So I guess that helped him, a little bit, but whatever. So anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to hijack the intro part, but
No, that's what we do, man. Go on tangents. We'll have more before the end of the show, I am sure. But all right, well, I guess we will start. Where do we want to start with Ubisoft? Just go ahead and get that out of the way. I know that you've done
man,
some
because
research
we've
on
had
it.
we've had a couple bad news story type of episodes lately, and I'd rather just get this one out of the way because there's nothing good about this story whatsoever. That way
unfortunately.
we can switch to positive stuff. But a lot of this you've read, and a lot of it came out today. But the highs and lows of it was that Ubisoft woke up this morning to dumping 70 points or something in the stock market, which is nuts. They made minus $1.5 billion this year. Yeah. So they closed 2 studios. They restructured another 4, massive layoffs across the board, with the hopes that by fiscal year 2028, they can make about 1.3 billion back. They also, for us as people holding controllers and mice and keyboards, they canceled 6 games. One of them is a mobile, so nobody gives a shit. But one of them was the highly touted second remake of Prince of Persia: Sands of Time, which I was looking forward to.
Shocked me.
Yeah.
And which we'll get into later. That one gravely concerns me.
It does, because I think it speaks volumes about other possible games that
Exactly.
might get the can. There's also 3 undisclosed titles which were new IPs, so we'll never know what those were, and where they were going with those. Could have been anything. And then one undisclosed
Sequel to Black Flag Shadows. Or not playing Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed Shadows. One was undisclosed, but it was from one of their current IPs. So we'll never know what that is, which that one sucks because I'd like to find out what that one was. And then last but not least, because we've hammered this one on our show constantly in a good way, is that the Black Flag remake has been delayed.
And that is a bummer, but I'm actually almost glad to hear that, because maybe as we've done so many reports on Black Flag, but we had heard one of the reports was that they had the RPG stuff in there, and that there was rumors that they had realized that was not going to be a popular decision, that they were trying to take some of those aspects out. Just at this point, just delay it and just take it, just go back, go completely, just take it all out and go back to what the original system was.
Yeah.
I don't know if they will.
Yeah.
But
who knows?
yeah,
We talked about it last week. They need to just hire some fans that are the check and balance in the boardroom to go, no, again, not what we asked for.
And so this is what concerns me about the Prince of Persia remake, is because I'm thinking that they don't understand what people want in remakes now. This is because, okay, obviously making any game is not easy. There is no such thing as an easy game to make.
Right.
However, if there is a shortcut, it's a remake. You already have a framework. You already know what people did or did not like about the original, and you can
know
move
all
forward.
your characters and story.
Exactly. You everybody already knows what it is, so you don't have to do. So it's a shortcut to doing something, and the fact that it is now canceled. Whenever what we want, again with these remakes, we want updated graphics and all this stuff, but we want it to be what we remember.
Yeah.
So the fact that they've canceled it, and they put out a one of those the screenshots that then goes around the internet, and they put that out saying that it didn't meet their level of quality or whatever that it was. So it's like, so what were you doing? Like if you couldn't achieve whatever quality it was that you weren't simply doing a graphical update. Then my guess is they were tweaking with the mechanics. Like, stop! What are you doing? Quit doing that.
Well, I think as well as I do. Let's take shooters, for instance. It sort of reminds me of when a new shooter comes out and it doesn't follow the typical convention for controls that other shooters have, and they're like, we wanted to try something new. So aim is not on your L2 anymore. It's on the back paddle that you need to connect on the back of your controller, and then you have to turn your controller 45 degrees and put your finger on the X button in order to throw a grenade. There's a reason people want that control scheme. It works.
Yep.
We're used to it. It shouldn't matter if I'm playing Halo or Rainbow Six. I should be firing with the R2 button. And it's no different with these remakes. Just give us what works.
Yes, because
Obviously, the first version worked.
Yeah, like what you're talking about with the controller, you change that control scheme. So like you said, if you do a shooter and you're like, let's play a little jazz with that control scheme and we'll just flip some of this stuff around, well then all people are going to be all they're going to do, they're going to be thinking about the controller and not your game. They're
Yes.
like, okay, well, we just oh crap, no, I threw a grenade, shit, like it's just it doesn't work. Like you want the controller is meant to just disappear, so you want it to be as intuitive and familiar as possible. And whenever it's a shooter and the shooter itself isn't doing anything particularly, like if you don't have something where oh, well, now we have a shooter where this guy's got a tentacle shooting out of his belly button and you get to control it with your... If you don't have something bizarre like that, don't try to get weird with the controller, right? Like
the Nintendo 64 controller when they were trying to find reasons to use the C stick, that yellow weird stick that was...
And the one that within 3 weeks, it's just laying off to the side because it just always broke. I mean, that was awful.
Oh man, terrible.
Yeah. So I don't understand why they do that. Like whenever they did the Demon Souls remake, that for launch of the PlayStation 5, that was one of the launch titles. They did the Demon Souls remake, and I don't remember which studio it was that did that, but they got it. They got it. They just did exactly what people wanted. They wanted the original, and they just wanted it to look amazing. So they did that.
Yeah.
They made it look amazing. They made it run at 60 frames per second instead of 30, and that created its own challenges because obviously the original animations were 30 frames per second. So they focused on using those original animations, but filling in for those additional frames and doing that, and it worked great. And how many complaints did you hear about the Demon Souls remake? None. Nobody. Because it gave them exactly what they wanted. I don't know why people are wanting to be like Steve Jobs whenever it comes to remakes. And they're like, no. They don't know they want it yet. But wait until they see what I got in store for them. And they're going to fucking love it. No, they're not. They're going to hate it. And so the fact that they canceled the Prince of Persia remake, it makes me think that they were doing exactly what the rumors have them doing with Black Flag, which is changing everything. We're not going to do we're not just going to give you a new fresh coat of paint and go with the same thing. I think they were probably just trying to do too much. And instead of refocusing, they just canceled it. And it's crazy. That would have been easy money.
Yeah. Especially, you think about Prince of Persia's legacy is that there wouldn't be Assassin's Creed without Prince of Persia. And even on a PS2 or on GameCube, because I played Sands of Time on GameCube. I know I played it on a Nintendo. Yeah. But
with that stick laying off to the side.
Yeah. But it was still smooth. From what I remember, like the puzzle rooms where you're going through with the swinging blades and the all that
it was revolutionary for that time period.
Yeah.
It was crazy smooth for that time period.
Even when you pulled out the vial of the sand to that whole thing was awesome. The rewinding time part was awesome. So anyway,
and you mentioned that they delayed Black Flag. So I'm curious, how did that kind of get announced? Since they haven't even officially announced Black Flag, the Black Flag remake. So what did they just say? Like, oh, we have a number of other games that have been delayed, and then just kind of read between the lines, or how did it come out? Since they haven't even officially announced Black Flag.
So the first part came out exactly. I'm actually shocked. You nailed it, the quote. But they're like, we have a number of projects that are currently being delayed, including the Black Flag remake.
They actually said Black Flag remake.
Yes.
So it was announced by announcing its delay.
Yeah, basically, I guess so. Yeah.
That is insane to me.
I've verified this on 3 credible game sources. So I'm not going to mention any of the 3, but
That's insane.
there are 3 big uns.
That is so, because we've said before, the Black Flag remake is the worst kept secret in video games right now.
Yeah.
Everybody knows it's coming, but it's still been unannounced. And it's been announced multiple different ways, different people involved in it. But then, so we've just been waiting. Okay, how's Ubisoft going to announce it? Then we had the Game Awards. They didn't announce. So we're like, okay, if you're not going to announce at the Game Awards, then the only thing you got left is a shadow drop. Or not a shadow, but like just like, boom, hey, letting you know it's out and it's out right now. Go get it. And just boom, bam, it's there. And so we've just been waiting. And now for them to announce it via informing everyone that it's delayed, that is a marketing failure.
Yeah. Without a doubt,
awful.
the whole thing's a failure, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
it does scare me. The whole thing does scare me. I'm terrified of the Black Flag remake. The deeper we get into it, the more concerning it becomes. And yeah, the cancellation of the Sands of Time remake, it does concern me on the Black Flag front as well, because again, it just makes me think that they are focusing on these remakes to just do like, yeah, let's just play with it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I do have the Fable
Nice.
gameplay overview pulled up. Do you want to go ahead and watch that?
Sure. Absolutely.
All right.
Let's get it.
So let's see here. We'll go ahead and bring that up.
Oh,
All right. Let's see. Make sure that our volume is good. Can you hear that?
yes.
Hi, welcome to Playground Games, where I'm thrilled to share our very first deep dive into a game we've been making here for a really, really long time. Fable.
Let me know if you need me to cut it for any reason.
Playground Games is renowned for fun, immersive, and visually stunning open-world experiences. Since 2010, we've been developing the Forza Horizon series right here in Royal Leamington Spa, a charming little town in the middle of England. As Horizon has grown, so have we. Over the past few years, we've built a new team to carry that reputation into a new genre that we are incredibly passionate about. Fable is Playground's first open-world action RPG, and we couldn't be more proud to be carrying on the work of the legendary Lionhead Studios, the original creators
I
of the
hadn't seen
franchise.
this before, so I
And
wish I
although
could
our
have
game
just
is a
blown
new
through all
beginning,
this
I
stuff.
think what we're making is really faithful to the spirit of the classic Lionhead trilogy that we
Peter
all
Molyneux.
love.
Oh no, Peter, that's not Peter Molyneux. He's gone from this place.
At the heart of our
No,
game
not
is a simple
him.
and
He was
recurring question.
referencing.
Oh, yeah.
What does it mean to
We
you
can talk about that
to
too.
be a hero?
That guy and his
Our
promises.
game is about choices and their consequences. It's packed with action, drama, British humour, moral dilemmas, and quite a few chickens. All of this combines in a fairy tale which could only be Fable.
It's the chicken choker.
In classic Fable fashion, you begin the game as a child, growing up in the sleepy rural village of Briar Hill. It's here that in a moment of extreme danger, your heroic powers first emerge, and we discover that you are Albion's first hero in a generation. But not long afterwards, disaster strikes, and the people of your village, including your beloved grandma, are turned to stone by a mysterious stranger. Suddenly alone in the world, you'll set off on an adventure which will change Albion forever.
Venturing out into the world is a huge moment because this is Albion like you've never seen it before. Idyllic rolling hills, magical forests,
Saw some
bustling villages,
inspiration there.
sleepy hamlets, oversized vegetable patches, and stunning vistas. And because our Albion is truly open world, for the first time, you'll be able to explore this rich and detailed world seamlessly, with the freedom to go where you want from early in the game.
We can't wait to welcome you back to Albion's iconic capital city, Bowerstone. Home to Fairfax Castle, the old clock tower, and the legendary Heroes Guild.
It's a huge city, full of contrasts. Rich and poor, nobles and commoners, royalty and criminals. You'll spend plenty of time here during the day as you discover the secrets of the Heroes Guild and its reclusive guildmaster, Humphrey the Golden.
In the north of Albion, you'll find mountains,
Yeah, man, they're nailing
craggy
the look.
coastlines, spooky marshes,
Because it's always
and the
been high
bleak,
fantasy,
windswept
but
city
also
of
kind of like
Bloodstone.
fairy tale. Like it looks like
Here, you'll meet
you
the
know,
leaders
all
of
the
two
fairy
rival
tales of the
gangs
Disney movies could
vying
take
for
place
power
in it, you know?
and uncover the secrets of the sinister but extremely well-organized Cult of Shadows. Our Albion is beautiful, handcrafted, and richly detailed.
In Albion, heroes are special, different. They're stronger than regular people. They're more skillful, more charismatic. More importantly, they're those rare humans who can harness and use magic in the world around them. They have the power to do what they want.
So it
And
sounds like
so
there's, like,
do
multiple
you.
heroes.
In our
Like,
game,
it's an entirely,
we want you
like,
to play as the hero you want to be.
type of
And that starts with being able to choose how your hero character
archetype
looks.
of like character where there's
In Fable, you'll be able to
like
pick from a
us.
range of different character heads.
Oh, wow.
And customize your clothing,
That looks
hair,
amazing.
skin tone, tattoos, and scars. So the hero you play represents you.
But as well as your appearance, you can be the hero you want to be through the way you play, through the skills and abilities you learn, and through the weapons you use.
Just like the classic trilogy, heroes in our game fight with a combination of strength, skill, and will. Seamlessly blending
that
melee and
looks
ranged
sick.
weapons with magical abilities gives us
And you can
style-leading
kick chickens.
combat,
All right, you're nailing it so far.
The chicken
allowing
chicken
you
kicker.
to show off your personal playstyle
Oh, look. It's the
against
chicken
single
kicker.
opponents and large groups of enemies alike.
Oh,
Melee
nice.
is at the
I'm
heart
digging
of our
this.
close quarters combat. You'll use light and heavy combos
I love the
There's
way
no
Often
way
not
to
using
say
balance
it. Reminds me a
and
little bit
executing
of
stylish
Hogwarts.
finishers.
I love the way this dude's looking around that.
Swap
axe.
to your ranged weapon to bypass enemy
Yeah,
guard
those castles definitely had a bit of a Hogwarts
and deal with
vibe.
troublesome flying enemies.
Dude, this looks so sick.
Yeah,
And of
I'm
course, you'll
genuinely
be able to
surprised.
unleash your powerful spells
This
to both
one even
manipulate
made
and
my finger
devastate
do
your
cartoon.
opponents.
We're excited to be bringing back some fan favorite adversaries for you to fight.
We've seen like transformers, fires, flaggers.
Hobbs are back, as are Balverines, Hollowfolk, and Trolls.
And we're adding
Shot him
brand
in the
new
leg and
enemies too,
reacted differently.
like this
Love
fearsome
that.
cockatrice, a giant fire-breathing chicken. Each enemy family is different, with their own weaknesses to exploit and defenses to overcome. But with all the unique tools in your combat toolbox, how you defeat your enemies is up to you.
But there's more to being a hero in Albion than fighting, so much more. When we talk to people about their favorite memories of the original games, so many of their stories were about the stuff you can do when you weren't just being a hero. The normal, everyday stuff which happened when you interacted with the people of Albion.
For me, what I remember most vividly are the inhabitants of Albion and the things you can do with them or to them.
The crazy thing about the classic Fable games was that in the middle of a sprawling RPG was almost a complete other game where you could just mess around with the villages and townsfolk.
And we've built that same experience in the middle of our game too.
That's
Buying a
awesome.
house, getting a job, making some money.
Romancing a villager, getting married, having kids.
Fancy a date?
Kids.
Perfect. You can get to know me better.
Buying another house. Buying every house in Albion.
Two houses. Oh, we're rich.
Buying every business
Two
in Albion.
wives?
Getting rich.
Marrying a bunch more people,
I have a
having
family
a
in
bunch
two
more
towns.
kids,
There it is.
probably getting divorced along the way for good measure.
And this game within a game is unique to Fable. It's systemic, interconnected, and you see the ripple effects of the things you do everywhere you go.
This is the best of us.
And all of this revolves around the people who live in Albion, who we call the living population. There are more than 1,000 of them, and every single one is unique. Each of them has a name, a role, a daily routine, and their own personality. You could follow any one of them for a day and just watch them live their life.
Look at the fabrics, man.
They'll get up, go to work, spend some leisure time on hobbies, then go home to bed.
But what's even cooler is that you can talk to every single one of them in fully voiced conversations and interact with them in loads of different ways. Maybe the job they go to is working for you because you hired them to work in one of your businesses.
Hey, you. Working hard? How can I help you, boss?
Maybe the bed they sleep in is in a house you own because you're the landlord.
Or maybe their bed is on the street because you evicted them.
All right.
Oh, it's you. You're awful.
And all of the stuff you do affects what they think of you.
You're a legend.
Because everything you do builds your reputation.
Here we go, High School Simulator.
Now that's an hero right there.
Morality has always been super important to Fable. That tension between good and evil underpinned all of the original games. And morality is central to our game too. But we have a slightly different take on it.
2 chickens kicked.
For us, morality isn't black and white. There are lots of grey areas. And importantly, morality is subjective. No two people see things exactly the same way. And that's how it works in our game too.
Everything you do earns you a reputation. And every person in Albion will have a different reaction to you as a result.
Hello there.
Yeah, we get it. You're rich.
They'll remember things you did directly to them.
That is a
They'll
very
love you or
flamboyant
hate
outfit
you
he's
for
wearing
the
there.
choices you make. And they will always tell you why. Although, usually from a safe distance.
Our game will never judge you, but the people of Albion will, loudly.
I love that. I'm glad that they kept that.
Your reputation is created by the choices you make.
Well, I guess
You are
what I'm
going to make a lot
installing
of
on
them.
Game Pass.
Big choices, little choices, moral choices, and some choices that will actually change the landscape of Albion for the rest of your game. We call this idea, Your Choices Change the World. Let's give you an example.
It's a long title.
Early in the game, you'll meet a character named Dave, an egotistical gardener in a rural village who discovers a magical growth formula. He accidentally turns himself into a giant and becomes a big problem.
It's the guy
It'll
from
be
the
your
IT
job to deal
crowd.
with him and ultimately be your choice whether to kill him or to spare him. If you kill him, his giant corpse will lie on the farmland just outside of town for the rest of the game.
And that is going to affect house
Will it
prices.
rot?
It will also affect what a lot of the villagers think about you.
Especially Dave's sister. In Fable, the choices you make will define you. What does being a hero mean to you?
At Playground Games, we've built a pedigree for beautiful, immersive, open-world experiences. Yes, they've typically involved sports cars, but this is a passion project for all of us here. Every member of this team, which we've built from scratch, has 2 key things in common: a deep love for the franchise and a burning desire to bring it back. We're making this for Fable fans just like us, but also to introduce Fable to gamers who've never played the series before. It's been great to finally tell you a little about the game we're making. There'll be much more to share as we get closer to our launch. I'm excited to tell you today that Fable is coming to Xbox, PC, and PlayStation in autumn 2026.
No solid
From all
date.
of us here, thanks for watching.
Nice.
All right. So autumn 2026, or fall for you know the Americans among us,
Right.
including us. So yeah, man, I'm actually super impressed with that, and yeah, I dig that. What do you think, man?
I love Fable. My favorite one was the second one, but yes, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I was super surprised that it looks incredible. They seem to have gotten all the things that you would really want. You know, you've got the whole vibe, which is like we're talking about. Fable's always been, it's very high fantasy, but it also looks like a fairy tale. Like every fairy tale you ever heard, or every like Disney movie you ever saw, like Beauty and the Beast or something like that, whenever they were all sort of that like pre-technology, nebulous time period, they all look like they could happen in Fable. And this one seemed to nail it. Even the music that they were playing in the background seemed to have nailed it. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. All the different things that we saw them do, the different spells, the fire, the lightning, all those different things. Even the melee combat, that looked great. That was a really good showing.
But
I have no complaints.
The integration with the magic during the combat with the melee was excellent. I didn't see. You remember in Fable 3, they had this kind of dual build where you were melee and you had a firearm like a blunderbuss or whatever. I didn't see that. I don't know if they're. Of course, the first game didn't have that, but it'd be interesting to see if they're going to bring that forward.
I think the only projectile weapon that we saw there was a crossbow. I don't think we saw any like actual like handguns or anything, did we?
No, I didn't. That's what I was saying. I didn't see any of that.
So not only did we not see the combination of that, but I didn't even see anybody having one on their side or on their back. Nothing. I hope that they're in there because blunderbusses are always fun.
Yeah.
But as far as everything goes, though, that looks really great. I hope that they also kept, so in past games, whenever you would interact negatively with people or something like that, and you would sort of build this reputation and this aura of being a dick, being a bad guy. I mean, they would go full on, like you would start to grow horns, there would be black smoke or red under your eyes. I mean, they went hardcore into it. I hope that kind of thing is still on there where it can actually influence your appearance as well, to keep that going. I hope that they'll keep that so that you can actually influence your appearance with it. But to see how they interact with everybody there, and that you can monitor how everybody responds to you, and there's like a set number of people. It's not just like randomly generating villagers and whatever, and that these are like, nope, these are the citizens and they all have routines. Like that sounds awesome to me.
I just remember, I know we brought up the chicken thing, but how annoyed I was in the very first game because I'm out in the woods and I accidentally kicked a chicken. And then the very first town I went in afterwards, like I'm in the town and some lady's standing there picking her nose and she's like, "Oi, look, it's the chicken chaser." And I was like, "Wait, what?" And then I'm walking around, everybody's calling me that in town. Then I leave and go to another village and they're like, the chicken chaser. And I'm going, dude, I have got to get rid of this title.
It's like high school. It's like I shot milk out of my nose one time, and now that's all anybody remembers. It happened one time, lady, one time. But at least that's better. It's better to have a nasty nickname than to what happens to you if you kick a chicken in Skyrim. So
you
kick a chicken in Skyrim, and people are coming at you with swords. So,
yes.
Yeah, well, I'd greatly prefer that. But yeah, it looks great. Now I know, obviously, I mean, every game they do these showings, and it always looks great. And you hear them say like, "Oh, everybody has a routine, and they've got jobs, and maybe you hire them, you fire them, you're the landlord for their house." It sounds very expansive, and it may be, but we won't know until we get closer to or after release, whenever we actually get our hands on it, to know like how true that is and how deep that is. Because so many times there's the promise, and then once you actually get into it, it's a lot more simplistic than they make it out to be. But so far, it sounds good.
The funny thing is, nothing says that more than the guy that created Fable, Peter Molyneux. I mean, he was famous. There was another game called Black and White that I loved on PC where you had like a godlike avatar that you used, and he made so many promises on both Fable and Black and White that, I mean, Sean Murray's probably been the closest person we've had to Peter Molyneux in a long time when he first announced No Man's Sky. So, yeah, I think
it. But with Sean Murray, I give him a pass on it because I think that he legitimately wanted all of those things to be there, and they just ran out of time. I think these are things that he was like, I know we can do it, and this is what I want, and that was his vision, and they just ran out of time. And then, granted, still should have been a little bit more restricted, but obviously they were a tiny little team. They didn't have PR training or anything like that, media training. But he did go back, and they have, made good on all of those promises and more.
And then, yes,
Peter Molyneux never did that. In fact, he would leave a studio open a new studio, start a game, make outlandish claims, then those would fall through, and then he would move again, start another studio, make another game. There's another game that he did called Godus. Godus, Godus. And it was a whole thing where I think it was like a cube or something like that. And the whole thing was everybody would play, and everybody was just sort of like picking away at this cube and trying to get to the middle of it. And his promise was, hey, whoever, like once we get to this cube, once we get to the center, then this game will change. The game will transform, and whoever it was that got to the center of this first and claimed that prize, they will be the god of that game, and we'll work with them, and they will oversee this world and make change, make decrees and stuff like that. And that never happened. Never happened. Somebody made it to the middle, but yeah, they did not. There was a whole interview years ago with them where they had like a meeting like over the phone or something, and then they just kind of like they stopped returning calls. There's a whole thing. But yeah, Peter Molyneux would always make these massive promises, and so his thing sounds very much like what they were talking about, where they're like, oh yeah, there's 1,000 people, you'll be able to talk to all of them, marry them, divorce them, have kids with them. I wonder how long. How about this? Because some of those, whenever we were in there, and you had kids, and we saw at least toddlers, maybe older than toddlers, playing around on the floor. Can we see them? Can we see them grow up to maturity? Do they then become people with routines? I don't know. We'll see. So it sounded very Peter Molyneux-esque, except they showed more evidence leading to some validity of their points than Peter Molyneux ever did.
Correct. Well, that's what I was wondering about the IT crowd guy. If you kill him and he's just stuck laying on the hill, is he going to rot?
Yeah, like when does he become just a skeleton in rags hanging over that mountainside?
Yeah. Which that would be cool if that happened. Yeah.
That would be super cool, man.
If there's like levels of putrefaction that he gets.
Yeah. Now, granted, I would never kill him in my game. Yeah. Surely, I would not. But we'll see. We'll see. But that's awesome. I am pleasantly surprised by what we saw there.
Good deal.
All right. Well, that's about all I've got. Like I said, it's just been a whole crazy thing. Do you have any more game stuff before we get into some of the media?
I do, and this is about a game that it's our second most anticipated game on the Hardcore Casual, which is The Expanse: Osiris Reborn / Mass Effect.
I would say I would not even say it's second place. I would say because like 007 is our most anticipated game, 2026. And this one, it's not coming out. There's almost no chance this comes out in 2026.
Yes.
No. So it is our most anticipated game beyond 2026 so far.
Yeah, and fighting for news on this game is not the easiest thing in the world to do. But we did get some more clarification on certain things. We do know that, and we talked about this before, with choosing your faction at the beginning. When you create your character, there'll only be the 3 factions. And it doesn't matter which faction you choose, you will still be a member of Pinkwater Security, which is a lot like, what were they called? The cops.
The Pinkertons?
No, the cops in The Expanse that Miller was a part of.
I was going off with the private investigators of his history
called?
past. But
I cannot not remember that.
I can't either. It's been a minute.
Man, what were they called? Helix, something Helix. Anyway, so you'll still be a member of Pinkwater because the whole plot revolves around you on the Pinkwater mission at the very beginning of the game, which most people are assuming is going to be Eros, the Eros incident. Of course, we'd already knew this game was going to take place during the first 3 books of the, or the first 3 seasons, if you will, of the television show. But one of the biggest, juiciest tidbits was the part on classes that we got. And I had mentioned before that the game is going to start out completely open, letting you experiment with different facets of classes, different gadgets, whether it be a shoulder-mounted turret or drones or shields or whatever.
So at least starting off, you won't be like locked in where it's like you make a decision and you're like, crap, I should have gone this other direction.
Yeah, but this game is going to do something sort of original. So your gear sets are going to determine your class eventually. So let's say you start favoring pistols, and shields. Those things are gonna start getting seriously not overpowered, but more powered than any other gadgets in the game. And then eventually you've got to commit, and it will lock down. Basically, you'll be locked into that set of gear, whatever that is, primary, secondary, some type of
so at some point
attachment.
So you get to play around, but at some point they're like, okay, time to grow up, pick a specialization, and go down that path.
And I think this is their way of saying we're not letting you max out a character with every possible stat, which makes sense, especially in a totally flawed world like The Expanse is, where every character has just gnarly character flaws. I mean, you can look at every member of the Rocinante, and they all have an absolutely wicked flaw. Holden can't keep his mouth shut. Naomi thinks that you have to vote on everything unless it's something she needs to decide on. Amos is Amos.
Yeah. They're all character studies for sure.
Yeah. Alex has his thing. I mean, all of them do. Bobby Draper's got problems, but she's also great. So anyway, the class piece that came out was the fact that yes, during the middle of the game, you're going to start circling in on things that you like, and then you're going to get locked in to that, that set of gear, that set of skills. So that's the class thing. And then some companion stuff. All your companions are going to be gained or missed organically during the story. Then they released the facts that companions can die. And this is where it's going to take a turn that you're going to notice immediately. A, the can die part, and B, the loyalty missions that you can go on with your companions.
Boy, they are running headlong into those comparisons, aren't they?
Yeah. And the funny thing was, when I was watching this video, they were playing the Mass Effect 2 music in the background.
Like, this sounds all very familiar.
Yeah. But you can also have clashes with the people on your ship, much like what we saw in the show, or if you've read the books. They can still work together, but they don't have to like each other. I mean, if you remember the first season of The Expanse, there were times when Amos wanted to absolutely kill Holden, although I feel like a lot of that was Nagata-driven loyalty. And Alex didn't agree with hardly anybody on the crew. And then you had, what was his name? Sked or whatever, the guy from Silicon Valley that got whacked with the railgun. But so, yeah, you can have clashes. Your clash could be based on the fact that whatever faction you picked. Maybe you're the only belter on your ship. Who knows? Or you're trying to romance somebody that somebody else is interested in. So that was a big one. And then the piece we got just yesterday is that they're literally right now working just on asteroids, on designing asteroids. They're like, this has turned out to be one of the hardest things we've ever developed, because not all asteroids are a single piece. Some of them have rocks that are trailing behind them. And each piece of that asteroid needs to have its own physics. Maybe it can get spun out of its orbit. Maybe it's spinning, and the other ones are And I mean, they literally did a whole big.
Well, I wonder if they'll do the thing because, like, in the series and the books, I assume they can land on asteroids as well, or attach themselves to an asteroid. I wonder if they will have that ability in the game as well.
I hope, like, in Mass Effect 2, where you sent the probes.
Yeah.
Especially at Uranus, which was the funniest probe you could send out. But to get iridium and palladium and all this stuff. Maybe to repair your ship or to generate revenue for when you land on a space station to sell it and get, credits or whatever. They didn't
find
mention
some
that,
gold asteroid.
But that would be awesome if you could land on it and mine it. And you have to get your exosuit on, and maybe you need people that are skilled in that to pick up that. But it also begs the question, all this information is what concerns me the most about this entire game, especially since Alcat's never done a game like this, is end game. After we finish with the story, can we just exist in the universe and play around? Have spawning random mobs that, we land on a place and there's a riot going on, or I'm really worried about in-game content when it comes to this thing.
Would you want in-game content?
Yes.
See, because I would be. Oh, hello, Whitney.
Hey, Whitney.
Thank you for joining. Yeah, I would be fine with no in-game content. I would be fine if, just like Mass Effect, you did. Excuse me, sorry. Just like Mass Effect, if you completed the game and that was it,
Yeah.
and then if they got DLC, then you could play the DLC. If it integrated with something that happened during your playthrough, then you just start a new playthrough. Or like The Witcher, where they do these things where they're kind of their own sort of segments. Like you can play them during the thing, but you can also just kind of do what. I would be fine with that. I don't need an end game for an RPG like this, just because I wouldn't expect it. Did their previous games have end game?
Allow me to rephrase. Yeah, Pathfinder, one of the Pathfinder games, had a decent amount of in-game stuff you could do. If they generate side quest stuff that is robust and multitudinous,
is that a word?
Yes, absolutely. 8 years of
Great
Latin,
job.
that is a word. I don't know how many Scrabble points. I'm guessing 40 in the 48 range, but
you win.
Then I will be fine with no end game. If I can do one main story mission and then do 300 hours of side quests before I do my next story mission, then sure, I'm fine with no end game. But man, it's got to be more than just the main story. I mean,
well, for sure. Well, and I think they've got to be thinking of. Obviously, they're like we said, they're obviously running headlong into these Mass Effect comparisons. So they obviously know the expectations of people are going to be based off of their experience with Mass Effect. So surely they've got to be planning on plenty of side quests and significant, meaningful side quests. And the fact that you can catch or miss companions along the way would lend to that philosophy that they are kind of, focusing on this thing where it's like, hey, we're going to have really critical side content where you don't need to do it, but if you do it, it's going to be worth it.
Well, you remember the very first time, and anybody that ends up watching this video that hasn't played Mass Effect, I don't know why I'm still reaching out to people that it just blows my mind that there are people that haven't played Mass Effect. But the first time you land on the Citadel,
Rob.
and besides the awe and shock of the scope of that place, how many people were on the Citadel that gave side quests, man? Even if the quest was on the Citadel itself, but there were plenty. There was probably 20, 30 people that gave some type of side quest mission. And that's just the Citadel. That's not, and you get on Mass Effect 2 and you're at Omega. My God, man, you could be on Omega for 100 hours.
And I would be. It's like every time I've played through the first Mass Effect again, was it the Hanare that would be in the middle of the city square or whatever? Yeah, Hanar. That's what. Yeah. Yeah, always love that. And then Omega and all there's the little side alleys and stuff like that with the sketchy characters. Yeah, man, so cool. So yeah, I really hope that they're gonna. But I suspect, just based off of some of those details, that they're gonna take the hint from there and go that way. Because like if they try to do something where there's an end game, I don't want that to take away from the focus of making good stories and these things that are gonna have a definite ending. Especially because, like, I would just, you and I are both completionists. That'd be rough. So just give me a ton of side quests.
Don't get me wrong. If the end game that I'm talking about is episodic, that's fine for me. That qualifies as end game. For instance, I just now thought of this, but from season 4 or 5, when they decided to go through the ring, before they went through the ring, there was a whole convoy of ships that were floating out there. We never found out what every single ship was. So one of them could be the ship that we're on in Osiris Reborn. And when we go through the ring, we end up going to a different planet. Where Holden's crew went to Ilos or Ilos, we could go to a different planet and have our own chapter there, which I think would be amazing.
I mean, they have said that basically it is connected with, all that stuff. Like not only obviously it's going to run because it's going to be part of the books, but that I think haven't we even seen characters from the show? Or maybe I'm making that up in my head where we've seen the possibility of characters from the show. Maybe not.
Yeah, they did say that there would be the possibility of running into characters from the show,
which would mean that they would have to work with those actors too.
Yeah, and there was also a rumor, and it was just a rumor. It was never confirmed that Wes Chatham was in the vicinity of the developers one day. So who knows? But yeah, still very excited. This is some good information. I love that even though they're just reluctantly releasing small tidbits, it's still small tidbits. It's better than nothing.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you digging them up. And yeah, I mean, I imagine that's probably all we're going to get for a while because, again, we have no idea when this is going to release.
Right.
We have no idea what they're even targeting for a release, like what even their optimistic timeline is for this thing. And now any game never hits release date at this point, any game of any significant level. And the fact that I think the scope of this game has changed since its release. I think that they are putting in so much more than initially planned. I think this is going to be extended as a result. I think it's going to release later than they planned because I think that they're going to be doing so much more than they initially did than before they announced it.
Yep. Anyway, man, that's all I had game wise.
All right, man. Well, thank you for digging that up and getting some of those details. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We'll see. That's definitely, like I said, one of those that is top of our list. So 007 First Light, #1 most anticipated game for us for 2026. And then right now, Osiris Reborn is top of the list for Beyond. I don't think anything's even close.
Fable just made a massith jump up for me.
I am optimistic about Fable after seeing what we watched.
Yeah.
I'm optimistic, but I'm still those are some bold claims and
tentative.
Not the fault of them, but Peter Molyneux has kind of got me.
Yeah.
You know, I've been burned a lot in Fable. That's why it had to be spun off to this whole brand new team, and this whole thing is because it never quite lived up to the potential that Peter Molyneux put on it, of course, because that was just impossible to achieve. And then I don't know, it just people tried different things, and then there was that last one where it had like this weird card system. I don't know, it's a whole thing. So so far, but yeah, I like what I'm seeing with Fable. So yeah, it is creeping up. It is creeping up the list. It's creeping up the rankings. It's on our radar now for sure. Whereas before,
the funny thing
it wasn't.
Personally, just me speaking individually, another game that I'm anticipating also is coming from Playground Games, which is Forza Horizon 6, because this is the first one that's taken place in Japan, which is something people have been asking for in Horizon Land for 20 years. So looking forward to that one as well.
So you said it's going to be in Japan?
Yeah, Forza. So Forza Horizon's always an open world car festival.
Was the last one in Australia? Was that the last one?
No, that was the third one. Mexico. Okay. It was the kind of Mexico-ish was this newest one, which was 5. 4 was in London. And then 6 is going to be, like I said, it's going to be Japan. So looking forward.
So we'll get all the neon and all that stuff on the streets. That's going to be awesome. It's going to look like the future.
Tokyo Drift soundtrack will be, rampant on people's content media. So yeah,
it'll be about family.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, that's all good. So I guess we'll move on to the media portion now. Do we want to talk about something that we both enjoyed first, or do we want to start with the house divided?
So here's the thing. I think we should divide the house and then
come together,
embrace and bring us back together for the hug.
So this was a show that I watched because of Jay, and I knew that Jay was going to watch it because Jay is obviously our resident expert in all things. Well, basically all things sci-fi, but particularly Star Trek amongst that. And so you are obviously like the lore god whenever it comes to all the stuff with Star Trek. I've seen, the movies and some of the movies and some of the shows and all that stuff, and I enjoy them. And I'm even one of this probably is a negative towards me in a lot of the eyes of many fans, and that I enjoy like the Chris Pine movies. I enjoy those. I liked those. So yeah, so I'm already losing credentials here. But Star Trek. Go for it.
First thing we've got to establish a baseline. I'm not going to judge you no matter what you say, But we've got to
appreciate that,
establish
Jay.
a baseline. I need to know who your favorite captain is of all time, and I need to know what your favorite movie was that of the movies you've seen, and which show was your favorite.
Well, so I haven't seen all the shows. I haven't seen all the
Okay.
movies. So, but I just because of the time that I grew up, I mean, it's got to be Jean-Luc. It's got to be Jean-Luc Picard. That's the guy. That was
Solid
my
answer.
that was my first introduction to Star Trek. Was him and The Next Generation, which is also my favorite of the Star Trek shows that I've seen, was The Next Generation, because it's just like
Solid answers.
that's like comfort food sci-fi to me, you know. That's the guy. So whenever I think of a captain, I think of Jean-Luc Picard. And then I really enjoyed the original Star Trek movies, from the ones with Shatner and even why can I not think of the guy that played Jean-Luc Picard's name? But all those movies. Hey, I've seen various ones, but it's been a long time since I've seen any of those. So the ones that come to mind are the new ones where Chris Pine is Captain Kirk, and I really enjoyed those. I loved the first movie. I thought it really set up things really well, and that it the way that it established that it would divert and all that. I thought they did a really great job of setting up that premise and why it made sense. And so I loved that, because as we'll get into some of this other stuff, twists, turns, spacey, wacy, timey wimey, love that kind of stuff. And I really loved that aspect of the first Chris Pine era of the Star Trek movies. And I know this one you're gonna really hate as far as opinions of mine go, and that was that I really dug the sort of reimagining of Khan with Benedict Cumberbatch. Yeah, I know that is blasphemous. So there's your baseline. There's your baseline that you already have some contention with. I can tell.
No, I'm not judging you. There's a lot of people that absolutely agree with you.
I felt judged pretty damn hard, Jay.
You shouldn't. You should definitely feel judged. But yeah.
You were just bragging about how good you felt. Now you're catching my stuff again.
I still feel great. But yeah, so go ahead, man. Let us have it.
No, I wanted to. Let's go with your thoughts first.
Okay.
This was your thing. This was the thing that you were terrified of it. You were very against this, and then you have gone into it, and you have a whole new set of eyes or rose-colored glasses. We'll see. But how about you tell us your experience with it, both before and after?
Real quick, to be fair, just so I can establish my baseline. My favorite captain is Jonathan Archer, played by Scott Bakula, because he was the trailblazer. He was the first. He had a ship without shields. He had a ship with shitty weapons, and he had no prime directive, and he was just out there flapping in the wind, making do with what he had.
It was a Star Trek with engine grease.
My favorite show was Next Generation, because, like you, 1987, I was 13 years old, and that was the first new Trek other than... And Trek was forced upon me. So I had been watching the original series reruns, because it went off the air in like 68. And that my dad made me watch, or that my grandpa made me watch, or that whatever babysitter I had made me watch. So I became a Trekkie by osmosis. My favorite movie is Wrath of Khan. And there's not
the
a
Benedict
Trekkie
Cumberbatch
alive.
version.
There's not a Trekkie. I know we'll get to that in a second, but not a Trekkie alive that didn't fight back a tear in the scene between the glass between Kirk and Spock when the reactor went critical. Ship out of danger, yes, and then we get the flippo reverse of it with Chris Pine and Zachary Quinto. And listen, love the scene. It's really hard seeing a scene that was originally a different way, completely bastardized, but they did the best with what they had to work with. I felt let down by that, because it ended up being anticlimactic that Chris Pine didn't die. just so they could show how powerful
Spoilers.
tribbles are. But yeah, spoilers from 10 years ago. But
Longer than that.
it also didn't help that the third Chris Pine movie sucked, which was terrible since I love Idris Elba.
That was not a highlight. I will say that was definitely not a highlight.
I will say this about the newer movies. Rock star cast across the board, all three movies. Love Bruce Greenwood as Admiral Pike.
Carl Urban.
Fantastic. Carl Urban as Bones. By the way, you did know that Thomas Jane is the new Bones
the
last season of Strange New Worlds with Anson Mount. Yep. So he's Thomas Jane. Detective Miller is going to be playing Bones. But anyway, so then that leads us to what we're going to talk about tonight, which is Starfleet Academy. And there's been a few episodes of this show where we talked about the trailers as they came out. We actually did a thing last week where you brought it up that sometimes trailers do an absolutely terrible job of conveying a story. We talked about Fallout and how the trailers were horrible. There was other stuff we talked about, and I can't remember.
D&D, Honor Among Thieves.
Oh, my God, the D&D movie. Yeah. So
where it was a phenomenal
trailer. movie,
and the trailer made it look atrocious. And I still maintain that trailer is the reason it didn't do well.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you on that. So then we watch the Starfleet Academy trailers, and it's this group of kids, and I'm like, what are kids doing on a starship? Why is the whole staff kids? That made no military sense whatsoever. And then we had Holly Hunter, who I love. I think she's world class, and she's laying in the captain's chair. I'm like, what the F is going on here? And then we had a female Jim Hadar, which at least in the first 5 or 6 centuries of Star Trek, there's no such thing. They can't mate that way. And we had no explanation for it other than here's a female Jim Hadar, deal with it. And then this group of kids. And Gene Roddenberry's vision was always one of social equality and exploration. It was never about combat and war and confrontation and all those things. So then I watched the first episode of Starfleet Academy, and I got to tell you, I was cringing to even hit the play button.
I was cringing after I hit the play button. I thought we were going to be at a point of agreement there for a minute.
Then the show started, and Holly Hunter's opening scene with Paul Giamatti and the mother and the child, absolute Trek. It was an absolute Trek scene. She established herself with gravitas almost immediately, and then we get to the point where she's left. And I don't want to get heavy into spoilers, but that part's in the trailer where she left Starfleet, and then of course she's going to have to come back.
Let's get into spoilers because there's going to be some of the stuff that we got to talk about. So feel free to get into spoilers.
So she leaves because of that incident with that boy, and I think she felt let down by Starfleet. It's also important to note that her character is half human, half Lanthanite, and in the Star Trek universe, Lanthanites are the equivalent of elves, basically. She's 422 years old.
I do want to get on. Let's talk about that first scene real quick. So, the whole thing. First of all, that child actor sucked. For the longest time, I thought that young Anakin in Star Wars Episode 1 was going to be the worst. Jake Lloyd was going to be the worst child actor ever. That kid was awful in that scene.
He was bad.
It was very bad. Everything had the same cadence as he spoke because he was clearly just being like, "Hey, say this," and then he would just say that.
Yeah.
And the camera would actively avoid his face so it would like keep his face blurry or make him look down so that you couldn't tell that there was no emotion in it. But the whole thing that drove me crazy about that scene is that they made it as though it was this great, injustice that someone was being punished for being an accomplice to a murder. A murder. Like, no, you don't get to be an accomplice to a murder and get away with it. just because you were hungry and you got a kid with you. You murdered somebody that was important. That was insane to me that...
She didn't do the murdering.
No, but she was an accomplice.
But she wasn't there by choice.
She had clearly been with this guy doing the pirating for an extended period of time.
Pirating, not murder.
Stealing, this, that, wrecking ships, that's all cool. And then somebody got murdered, but like, hey, you know what? You got a kid. You seem like a good gal. You should get off. No, that's dumb, okay? That's ridiculous. And then the kid leaves, right? The kid breaks out. Okay, that's on the kid. That's on the kid. It wasn't like the system failed the kid in that situation. They didn't get a chance to be good to the kid because the kid just booked it. And then they established later, because you mentioned that Holly Hunter's character left the academy. She left that day. That was the day she retired. She quit that day.
Yeah.
That's insane to me. Why would you quit? It wasn't like, oh, I didn't like the way they handled things afterward. I didn't da-da-da-da-da. She quit that day.
Yeah.
So, and there, as we go on, there's some other timeline stuff that I have some major problems with here. But there we go. So yeah, I thought that was dumb. Oh yeah, her big regret was that she actually punished someone that facilitated the murder of an officer.
She punished herself, crime notwithstanding. She punished herself for splitting a mom up from their child, and for her, that was a linchpin thing. I'm not disputing the murder bit of it all. I'm just that's not why she did it. But anyway, so Oded Fair's character, Charles Vance, who's an admiral.
I was very happy to see Oded Fair.
And I'm guessing you did not watch Discovery.
I did not.
Okay, so he's in the final couple seasons of Discovery because an event happens called the Burn, where
I was wondering about that because they reference it a couple of times, and you just see this explosion and the thing. I'm like, I'm sure they'll explain that later.
There was this whole season with the Red Angel and whatnot, and Michael Burnham, who was the lead character on Discover, and they ended up being the cause of this thing called the Burn, where every networked ship that had a hyperdrive was burned out, and they were unable to, for over 100 years, to use faster than light travel. So the Federation fell apart.
So it was the red ending from Mass Effect.
Yeah, so we could not travel between worlds. So they're, that was the deal. And then Oded, they get fast forwarded to the 32nd through quantum tachyon crap, and they end up in the 32nd century, which is weird because their original timeline was pre-Kirk. So Charles Vance meets them there, and they're trying to put the Federation back together. So Starfleet Academy is them reopening after the Burn, and then of course we saw the delegation from Betazoid show up there to try to mend that bridge moving forward. And you could tell by the students that quite a few races had been welcomed back and brought back into the fold. So anyway, she takes over as Chancellor of Starfleet, and then we meet Lura Thok. Lura Thok is the aforementioned Jim Hadar female who basically serves as the weapon master / drill sergeant for this school. And right off the bat explains that her father was Jim Hadar and that her mother was Klingon.
So your Star Trek lore brain had underestimated the horniness of the various races. Yeah.
Or the ability for Klingons to get horizontal with love with Jim Hadar. But anyway, so that's where we are with that. So and I was fine with that. That explanation. Okay, so she's not full blood Jim Hadar.
Yeah, I also have no contention with that. That happened.
Yeah. So yeah, considering the amount of tabletop games and games that I play and other stories that I love, and I was okay with that. I mean, that explanation explained it for me. So anyway, then we have Ake, who, as a Lanthanite, very reminiscent of Pelia on Strange New Worlds, who was also a Lanthanite. and people are like, she's like walking around barefooted with foot jewelry on, and she's just laying in the chair reading a book. And
you're skipping over though with the kid. You're skipping over the fact that we've gone forward 20 years, and Caleb.
Yeah. Oh, I'm getting to the kids.
Okay.
Let's get to the cadre before we do the kids. But I love that about her. Every captain that has ever sat in the chair has had their own gimmick, their own thing they say when they go to faster than light, whether they sit in there. Captain Archer spent 4 years on the NX-01, and I bet he didn't spend 10 minutes in the chair. Picard was always in the chair, and he would do this darting forward thing out of the chair with his hand forward. Kirk would always be cross-legged, whether it was Chris Pine or Shatner, cross-legged in a chair, calm as, a cow in India, that he was in the middle of crazy-ass combat. So every captain has been different. She's no exception. When she needed to be upright and professional, she was. And when she didn't, she was kind of she was that hippie commune type captain, which
that was one thing that drove me nuts in this.
I loved it.
I'm sure they meant it to be endearing, but yeah, like her.
It was endearing.
It was insane because anytime like she was on camera, it was like,
yeah,
yeah. There was that's all she did. It was always this insane, like I don't get it. No, it's too much. It was too much.
I also
too much.
like the fact that I was wrong about students staffing a starship. They're up there because that's where school is now. But the actual crew of that ship, the Athena, was all adults that had graduated from the academy and were working in Starfleet, and that was good to see. So, and then they brought back the photonic doctor from Voyager, Dr. Picardo or Robert Picardo, whatever his name is. And then we have Tig Notaro, who was on Discovery. She was also in that Army of whatever movie with
Army of the
Batista.
Dead.
Yeah, Army of the Dead, which she's hilariously funny and hilariously dry. And she nails all of the buttons that you need to push if you're her in the first couple episodes of the show. So that covers pretty much all the teachers for me. And then we've got to remember, this is not a Star Trek show where we're exploring space. We're in class. This is freaking Harry Potter. This is Hogwarts. So we have students, and Mason, you and I were talking before the show, and this group of kids is no different than any group of kids anybody's ever went to high school with. So we got Caleb Meir, the kid. Obviously, the adult actor was a way better actor than the kid version. But he's your tough case, your hard knot that you've got to. And Holly Hunter is, I think she's taken an easy approach to not put pressure on him, but eventually she's obviously going to have to, and you can see it coming. So he's the hard case. Then we got Klingon, Crag, who's not like every Klingon. You can tell he's not the, today's a good day to die Klingon. He likes science. His mother was a botanist. He knows plants and insects and all those things. Very
talks like a
atypical
robot.
Klingon. Then you got Raimi, who's looks human, but he's got an alien side. I guess he's a shapeshifter. And he's the arch nemesis of our protagonist, Caleb Meir. He's the rival, the bully, if you will. Then you got Genesis Lithe, who's the little smoke show hottie, and she's the tease, the class tease. And then we got Sam. I'm guessing she's a female, although it doesn't matter because she is the Academy's first photonic cadet. So she is a hologram. And, of course, if you know Star Trek, ever since even Deep Space Nine or Voyager, somehow they created a way for photonic beings to interact with the real world. So I'm still trying to figure that science out. I doubt Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Imagine me then, if you're still trying to understand what the hell is going on.
Right. So that part has never truly been explained, but for me, it's just like Death Stranding. It's accepted lore for me. The photonic officers can interact with the real world. They can pick up an apple off the table, but if we wave our hand through them, our arm goes right through them.
Well, I didn't understand. Like, she said she had been around for 4 months, but she was programmed to be 17. So she was allowed to be in the Starfleet Academy program because she was programmed to be 17, not because she was actually 17.
Correct.
Which would mean, well, then why didn't they just program her to be older or program her to be an officer? Or that part made no sense to me. And she's also the single most annoying character I have seen on screen in a long time.
Without a doubt. And every single Star Trek show has had the single most annoying character of all time on it.
But they were still lovable. Like Data. Data was still lovable.
Data wasn't the annoying one on there. It was the guy that played Murdoch in A-Team that was the annoying one. Wesley Crusher was annoying as hell.
See, I am more annoyed at Holly Hunter's sitting down than sorry, I was thinking not Crusher, I was thinking Riker. You know, because you can like look at YouTube and it's like you just type in Riker sits down and it's like a compilation of him doing the whole sitting thing.
The Riker
Wesley
maneuver.
Crusher was awful.
Yeah. And then, you know, Deep Space Nine had the little Ferengi guy that was a pain in the ass, and also had Nog or whatever his name was that was weird. And they've all had people that were weird. And, you know, I don't know what Sam's story is. I mean, I guess I'll see it as the show develops.
Hopefully it's death.
But other than that, I really enjoyed the whole Beta Z kind of peace treaty and negotiation there. And they introduced a couple of new characters there. And of course, Deanna Troi from Next Generation, she was a Beta Z. So, just as a little callback for that. But I'm 2 episodes in. That's all I'm in. So, pretty excited so far to see where they go. I love the new ship. I love the cells that are able to split and they're able to land in San Francisco. I thought that was really freaking cool. So, anyway.
I am 1 episode in. I believe this will be the only episode I have, and I hate this fucking show. So there's quite a few things that I just don't get. So Caleb is the kid that escapes whenever Holly Hunter's like, hey, you know, your mom was an accomplice to murder, so she's got to do some time. And then the kid just opens a portal and goes away by stealing her stuff. So then she immediately quits. She quits that day. They make a thing. She quits that day, and then he goes off. So he goes, and we're like, you know, he's in his 20s now. He's either 20 or just past 20. And he goes, you know, he ages. So whenever we catch back up with him, it's this ship that is going to a prison planet, and he is riding along. And they do this whole thing where, you know, there's this like robot that scans him and you kind of get his little rap sheet of all the insane things that he has done from when he left to now. And, you know, the most recent one being 20 or something that it announced. And then he proceeds to take over that entire ship. I don't know if he explicitly killed anybody, but those dudes aren't walking and nobody's playing piano again after what he did to the crew of that ship. So we do that, but then, so we have Oded Fair's character comes and he talks to Holly Hunter's character, and he basically says like, oh yeah, murder, well, what's that? And then, so he offers her a job, and then she takes the job, and then first order of business after accepting the job is to talk to Caleb. So she is offered the job, she is talking to Caleb, who is now captured. Within hours of taking this job, she's now talking to this Caleb guy he's got this long hair, he's filthy, he's grungy, his clothes are tattered, clearly hasn't showered in weeks or months. Somehow, though, still has a razor close shave while doing all of this. And so she basically tells him, you know, she's all this stuff, hey, I'm going to do Starfleet, we're doing all this stuff now, and there's a program. There's a program that you can be a part of. We can, you know, I ruined your. She takes some sort of responsibility for the path that he's gone on, even though he left, you know, because she punished a murderer. And so she says, well, hey, there's a program that we can do where you can basically work off, you know, this debt that you owe to society for low-level criminals. And I was like, bitch, this guy ain't low level. We just heard his rap sheet, and we just saw him cripple 3 dudes. Like, this is not a low-level offender. It's not like he stole some bread, from somewhere. So whatever. There's that. They explicitly say, though, that the program is for low-level offenders, and then they have this serial offender that they're going to put in the program. So they do that. He clearly agrees. So they're now taking a shuttle. Take a shuttle. It's the next day. This is his first day of school now. So this is all taken. So she got offered the job. Within a couple of hours, she's talking to Caleb. Caleb then accepts it. Within a few more hours, they are on their way to Starfleet. They get there.
I think it's assumed that more time had passed.
No. They explicitly say it. They explicitly say it because whenever she does her thing, whenever she sits down and she's talking to them, she says that she accepted this job less than 24 hours ago.
Okay, that part. Yeah, I get that part.
But
I think
it was the day before that this happened because she talked to Caleb after she got the job again because if she doesn't have the job, there's no reason to talk to Caleb. So This is happening within a few hours. So she talks to him. He's on the thing. They get there. And so this guy who has now known what time it was for the last 6 hours, they get there and he says, I'm not wearing a uniform. Bro, where was this energy 6 hours ago before you stepped on the plane, before you agreed to all this? They basically tell him whatever, you're doing it. And then they go a little further and they're like, we'll get you a compliant haircut. And he's like, I'm not cutting my hair. And it's like, dude, did none of this come up? Do you think that you were just going to be able to walk in and do whatever? Which also, their regulation haircuts seems to be a little sketchy whenever it comes to regulations because his brosif that he made there, this Caden guy, he gets to keep his long hair. This guy doesn't get to keep his long hair. As a long-haired person myself, I see that's as unfair. So there's that.
It's culturally dependent.
Well, his culture is to be a piece of shit criminal that he's been for the last 20 years.
That was his disposition. That wasn't his culture.
So we have all of that. Well, then the crazy thing is, so this is the first day of school. No. You keep interrupting. I want your thoughts on this. This is just the stuff that I'm just like, this makes no sense. So they're on this.
It's
again.
Star Trek.
This
Go ahead.
is day 1. All right. So they get there. They go on. They do this thing. They take off on this Starfleet. The ship is cool. But they're doing this whole thing. Well, right after, I guess, orientation, this guy hacks this comms unit, and he's looking for his mom, and he's trying to do all this stuff. And apparently, in doing so, this communication has been picked up by an enemy ship. And then that enemy ship, takes over this ship, the Athena, and now it is stuck. They're trapped by this other ship, and that's the thing for this opening episode. Well,
please tell me you enjoyed the programmable matter part.
Wouldn't
cool.
know it? That it is the guy that was the murderer along with this guy's mom. So Paul Giamatti, by the way, played by Paul Giamatti. So I wouldn't have nearly as much of an issue with this if it's like hey, isn't it funny how all these paths cross again? So, the first scene, Paul Giamatti, the murdering pirate, Caleb's mom, the accomplice of the murdering pirate, and Caleb, and then this chick from Starfleet. They have their thing. They all go their separate ways. Now, here we are. All these things just so happen to take place within a 24-hour period where this chick gets her job back, which everything's 24 hours. She quits her job within 24 hours of this thing happening. So then she gets her job back. She finds Caleb. Caleb gets into Starfleet. They take off. That ship is then taken over by this guy that just so happens to remember Caleb from, where he just so happens to be there after 20 years of not seeing this Caleb guy. So all of these people within 24 hours end up converging in the same place just because. I don't understand. That's the craziest thing. That's the most unbelievable aspect of all of this is the
and
fact
yet
that,
easily explained.
Please explain.
Because of the burn. We can't even leave all those people are trapped within the same solar system because nobody can faster than light travel anymore.
you are aware that solar systems tend to be quite large.
Yeah.
Okay. So and so this one pirate just by sheer happenstance just happens to be close enough to like take
When
on
he
like
had been, according to Oded Fair's character, that race had been basically doing raids all through the system anyway.
So this one guy though just happens to be on the one that just happens to hold Holly Hunter, who just happens to have gotten her job back less than 24 hours ago, that just happens to hold Caleb, that Holly Hunter just so happened to have given this offer to less than 24 hours ago. They all split on that one day. They all split, and within this 24-hour period, they just all happen to have fallen back in each other's laps.
Yeah.
That's
welcome
it's
to Star
insane.
Trek.
It's so ridiculous.
It's not the first time it's happened on Star Trek.
So yeah, I just don't get it, man. Then there's there's a lot of stuff where it's very tropey with things, but if a trope is done well, do a trope. Nothing wrong with it. Like you said, there's like, oh, okay, yeah, there's the two guys, like there's like the jock, and then the new guy with an edge, and they're not going to get along, and so yeah, there's always going to be these sort of very typical sort of high school level tropes, and that's fine.
And especially in Star Trek, because Star Trek is famous for creating what I call cutout characters. They're never crazily Picard, and you said yourself was your favorite captain. Picard was one of the most layered characters on any of the shows of all time.
It's a shame they didn't stick with that.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah.
So there we go. That's my. It made no sense to me. Where it's like it's so unbelievable that all this stuff just
really
happened to fall back into place.
It really sounds like you got so hung up on the murder that you never made it past that part.
No, it's just so. It's the first stupid thing that thing did. Where it's like, why is everybody like, oh yeah, you remember that one time that we punished a murderer? Why did we do that? We shouldn't have done that. Gosh, I wish we hadn't done that. That was really mean of us to punish the person that murdered a Starfleet officer. Yeah, how dare we? So yeah, but then again, it's like everybody's lives stopped that day and then resumed the day that all this happens after this 20-year gap. Okay, you were arrested. Boom, you're gone. You went here. You ran. You quit. And then everybody just comes back together within a 24-hour period 20 years later. Just so happened. What a coinkydink. So, yeah, it was dumb. It was bad. It's a horrific storytelling. Like, it wouldn't have been nearly as awful if it was over a much longer period of time. And like you said, like if they would have not put in that line in her speech where she's like, hey, less than 24 hours ago, I would have told you I would never be back here, blah, 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 blah. If they would have not put that in, I would have assumed months had passed or something like that. But no, but they had Caleb walk in the same dirty clothes that she found him in, 6 hours earlier. Yeah. And I was just, it made no sense. It made no sense. I don't get it. So that's me. So there we go. There is our house divided. Do you have anything else to add to that before we bring our house back together?
I don't. I mean, I hope you continue to watch the show and see how it develops because I might end up flipping. But right now, I love it. I think it's absolutely what Gene Roddenberry intended for his show to be. And got to remember, again, like I said at the beginning of mine, is that this is a school show. I mean, this is a coming of age story for all of these kids. And then it's Holly Hunter trying to play high school counselor with Laura Thok playing disciplinary principal. So,
well, I know that Holly Hunter's 67 years old, and she's going to blow out a knee or a hip sitting in that way in the chair all that time.
Well, she's obviously in really good shape, though, so my hat's off to her for that. But, I think what I'm looking forward to is when she has to get hard and be tough on these kids.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So I'm looking forward to that because she does that well in other roles that she's played. So, that part of it I'm looking forward to. And for me, this actually started off better than Discovery did, although Discovery redeemed itself pretty quick. So I was kind of happy with both of those. But I just like it when I get proved wrong on an initial, feeling of like I said when we first watched that trailer, I was like,
I hated it more than I thought I would.
What are we doing? But then once I got to watch it, stuff was explained, and I was pleasantly okay with it. It was very Trekky. Trek is always famous for having to set their plots the way they set them, and in this case, it was the way it was set. So
maybe some realistic timelines would be in order, but who knows? We'll see what happens. Well, Jay will see what happens. I will not. I will listen to what Jay says happens, and take his approval of this first episode as how highly I can regard that opinion. Anyway, so
that's right. You didn't watch the second episode, so there's that.
No, nor do I recommend anybody do so.
Wow.
Yeah, but to bring the house back together,
watch it, people, watch it.
What I think everybody should watch is a movie on Netflix called The Rip. It stars Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. So Jay and I have both seen it, and Whitney I've also recommended to see it. I don't know if she has, but hopefully she has, or if she has not, hopefully she will watch it. I don't want to do spoilers, so we'll avoid spoilers on this one in the event that Whitney has not seen it. But it was outstanding. It's the first movie that's made with this unique structure where if it does well, the entire crew gets bonused. I think it was like 1,500 crew. I mean, we're talking everybody from cameramen to grips, drivers, everybody that had anything to do with that movie. The better it does, the more they make. They get bonused on it.
I also thought it was cool that they included two lesser-known actors in Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. You don't see that very often.
Yeah, two upstarts. Good to see. Yeah.
Two upstarts from such a late age.
Yeah. Well, what's crazy is that they have not worked together in a long time. They did Good Will Hunting and the Jay and Silent Bob, and then they've not been back together in a long time. And so Matt had actually talked about that, where he's like, you know what? Like, we're getting older. Like, yeah, we had our own thing, but let's be friends. Like, not that they weren't friends. Let's just do things together. Let's do things together. Because he said that he had seen a documentary, the Beatles documentary, and that one of the scenes that it ends on was all these guys playing on a rooftop. Cops get called. Cops come. Then the cops are having a good time, and all these guys, all these good friends, are laughing, joking, all this stuff. And then it pops up on the thing. It says that that's the last time they ever played together. And Matt talked about how that hit him, where it's like, why is that the last time these guys played together? They're friends. They're all
John Lennon got killed.
They're all enjoying each other. The company, like, what's going on? And like, why could they not get past whatever differences they had and just remember this time right here? So he's like, hey man, I don't want to have that happen. Like, we've got our own things going on and we're establishing ourselves, but like, I don't care what's going on. Let's do stuff together. And so they did this movie. And one of the things, funny thing, just a little nerdy stuff, they have 5 tiers that I think it's 90 days or 6 months. I can't remember that it's going on about like, hey, if it hits these milestones, people get bonus more. So there's 5 different stages. Each one of those has, a bonus associated with it. The 5th is 110% of Netflix subscribers. 110%. And Matt said, he was like, is this a mistake? Like, I think we need to do something about that. That 110, that's impossible. And no, it's not, apparently, because K-pop Demon Hunters was the first movie to ever do it. It had been watched so many times. It was over 110% of Netflix's total subscriber base. Obviously, that doesn't mean that every single subscriber watched it, but a bunch did, and then a bunch of those watched it numerous times, to the point that it was watched more times than there were subscribers to Netflix.
Damn.
So there's that. But anyway, so the RIP focuses on the tactical narcotics team.
Yes.
The TNT group. And it starts off with a murder. So that's not a spoiler. It starts off with the murder of a police officer. And from there, it basically kind of covers the fallout of that. That murder remains unsolved. And the movie really, I don't know. It goes around a lot where they continue to do their jobs. I'll just say they continue to do their job, and there's a lot of distrust throughout it. And so the movie is a really well crafted story of double crosses, triple crosses. Who can you trust? Who's telling the truth?
Loyalty.
Yeah, loyalty. Can we trust what we just saw or what we just heard? You know, what's real, what's not, what's all for show.
Can anyone be taken on surface value?
Yes.
To me, that was the question I kept, like, every single character that was introduced, I'm like, can I take this person on surface value alone?
Yeah, and they did such a really great job of introducing so many people in one light and then changing that light by the end of it. There will be people that you think are dirty when it starts that you come to the end and realize they were not. And there are people that you will come to think are absolute loose cannons at the beginning that turn out to be, very principled, well-reasoned people. There's people that you think are squeaky clean. It's just so good at like these role shifts. And there are people that will shift roles. They start one place, they go another place, and they go back to the place that they started, and all points in between.
Then they go to a different place.
Yeah, it is so twisty and turny, and they have such great actors because, like you said, they have Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, they have Tiana Taylor, they have Stephen Yeun, they have Kyle Chandler,
Scott Adkins.
Yeah, so many great actors in it, all like at the top of their game. It's very it's got like a Training Day kind of a vibe with.
It's very Miami, man. I gotta tell you, after having lived there, that dark late at night Miami that people don't normally see because they always show South Beach and shit in the movies and TV show. I mean, I got some late night vibes and I mean, I lived in North Miami Beach and that whole neighborhood, they did a great job, dude. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, the location was also a character in the movie for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like it had a vibe that you couldn't get anywhere else. And they do a great job of making every place that they are in feel real and feel layered. There's everywhere they go, there's like, okay, here's this. And then they have a way of something gets introduced and it's like, okay, are we safe here? So there's an initial like, okay, here's this thing. Okay, cool, we're here. Is this safe? Okay, if it is, good. If it's not, okay, then there's another. Like everything is very layered. I'm trying to avoid spoilers as best as I can.
Funny side story. I was on the Metro Rail one night, which is the elevated train in Miami, and they were having a delay. We were gonna stop at the next station, and I was like, man, I gotta piss. I'm gonna get off the piss. Train stops, doors open. I go to move, and this old dude just grabs my arm and go, brother, this is Hialeah. You don't get out here. Wait till the next one. And I go, okay. Which is great because that's where they were in the movie. So that was, I mean, as soon as I saw the sign that said Hialeah when they were driving in, I was like, oh God, man, what are they doing?
And, obviously since this is a tactical narcotics unit, it deals with cartel and drugs.
Yeah.
And so narcotics and money and guns and cartels and all that stuff gets weaved in there. And they talk about, which is something I hadn't really considered before, actually, until it makes sense now, but about how like the cartel will buy property via different people or whatever. So you always hear about like, oh yeah, the money, the drugs and all this stuff, but you never really think like, oh yeah, like they can buy property. Obviously it's not like, oh, signed by the Medellin cartel or whatever, but they're, through people, they can buy property and establish bases and stuff like that. So it did a great job of explaining the circumstances that led not only to where this team is now and this level of distrust that everybody has amongst one another, but also how where they are got to be the way that it is with narcotics and the various threats that they have to face. In fact, there was a spot where, I'll say this because it's not a big spoiler on anything. There's a spot where nothing crazy has happened. nothing threatening, nothing's going on, and it looks like they are going to be in this garage for an extended period of time, perhaps, maybe for a couple of hours. And one officer says, like, oh, let's move this station wagon in front of the garage door because there's a station wagon in there. And then it's like, why? And it's like, oh, that way, so the bullets, if they come through, they hit. There's been no threat of anything yet. But these people, since they work in narcotics, they're just always like, we need cover. And if we're going to be in here, that door's thin. We need something here, because so it's like you get a look into their perspective of how they're always looking for threats. I don't know. It was really, really well done. And I don't even want to talk about the name of the movie. It's obviously it's called The Rip, but I feel like even saying what that means can give away some of the plot points of the film.
Absolutely. Don't do it.
Yeah. But it was really, really well done. I know that they chose Netflix because of their willingness to work with them on this bonus structure that they've kind of conceived of. And I hope that they do more stuff with Netflix because Netflix clearly let them do what they were going to do. They got to do some stuff that you don't usually get to see in films, and they let them do it however they wanted to do it, and man, it paid off.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you think? What any other sort of things stand out for you?
I had some, and I don't want to get into spoilers either when it's really difficult for me because some of the viewpoints I have are a little bit different. But one thing I want to say is how visceral the gunplay was, how punchy the rounds sounded.
Yes.
You don't see that, you don't hear that very often when you watch a movie. They always downplay it because usually somebody's talking during it or there's something else they want you to notice. When this movie decides to go Rambo John Jay on you, it goes Rambo John Jay on you, and it starts dropping the rounds in, and they're hot. And it sounded like it. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that. But
and there were oh, go ahead. Sorry.
And then I was just gonna say just the idea of Matt Damon and Ben Affleck's character. It was absolutely believable instead of just scripted. It was believable that they had worked together for so long. And
I mean, obviously they're friends, and so that like you said, that comes across on screen where they are old.
Yeah, their real life chemistry came into play. You could tell there were times when they didn't say anything; it was just facial expressions, and they were able to convey that thought just in a face, like you can with any of your best friends. And so I thought that part was cool that they played into it instead of playing away from it. I also like the idea of that they were showing their age, man. They didn't try to hide their age. They weren't trying to be Mike Lowry from Bad Boys, the same character at 54 that he was at 20, and they played into it with the way they had the younger guys. And, they utilized the younger people's skill sets to do some of the legwork. I thought that was very cool. I thought the way they played into their age was awesome. And I just want to give a special shout out to Kyle Chandler because he could easily be overlooked in a movie that has Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, and his role was so impactful to that movie. And he did such a good job. And I watched an interview where I guess all three of them were on Colbert or one of those guys, one of the talk shows. And, Chandler was like, he's like, just keeping up with these guys is almost impossible. And now that I've seen the movie, I'm like, man, you held your own, dude. You stood in there and held your own in playing a very atypical role.
Yeah.
Of Kyle Chandler. So
yeah, usually I see Kyle Chandler as in a dramatic role or whatever, but never as sort of like an action-oriented badass, like a no-nonsense, military-minded kind of guy. And it makes me... Oh, go ahead.
He was that big brother. No, he was that big brother to both of them in a lot of ways. Like he was the guy you called and you're like, hey man, this is what I'm into. What do you think? And he gives them sound advice. So, but that's all, that's all I can get into. But
I seeing how he did with that role, where obviously he is in a different kind of tactical unit with like
Yeah.
the DEA and all that stuff, but he's very, hands-on, guns, all that stuff. That like he's a part of one of these other highly trained forces. And seeing that, and again, obviously Kyle Chandler's older, so he's a grizzled vet kind of thing. That it makes me really optimistic for his role in the Lanterns show that's coming up.
I don't know if you saw. I don't know if it was your kind of movie. Obviously, it was mine. But Zero Dark 30.
I have not seen it. I do want to see it, but I have not seen it.
And he's a greasy bureaucrat in that, but he freaking nails it, dude. I mean, he nails it, and still is able to be Kyle Chandler. You know what I mean? One of those things. But yeah, I brought it up because his two favorite roles, even though I know he's got an extensive filmography, for me has been Zero Dark 30 and this.
Well, Kyle Chandler has been one of those guys that ever since, that I just like the guy. And it's like, hey, even if he's in something that doesn't really appeal to me, I'm just glad he's working because I like the guy.
Yeah.
And I saw him whenever I was a little bitty kid, and he was on a show, which I assume is probably the first real job of that caliber that he ever had. And it was on a show called Early Edition, where he played a guy that every day he got tomorrow's paper. And so he would go around and try to change the headlines of tomorrow's paper. And it was really great. So yeah, it was
cool.
He was a young guy. It was a long time ago.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, Early Edition. So look that up, watch it. It was fun, and I've been following him ever since. And every time I see him, I'm like, good. I'm glad he's still working. And I don't think he'll have any trouble finding roles after what I saw him doing this. And then seeing, which, like I said, makes me very confident in what he's going to do in Lanterns. And I think after that, he might have his own little career resurgence, very much like Walton Goggins has had, where he's finally getting the actual props that he should have been getting decades ago.
And hopefully he'll come out with his own own line of glasses that work for us. And anyway,
like Walton Goggins goggle glasses.
Yeah.
What is your color for Walton Goggins goggle glasses? I know there are 5.
I like the brown.
The brown ones.
I really like the brown, and I like the blue ones. If I could get 2 pairs in it, like a 2-for deal, I would get the brown ones and the blue ones. But
Walton, anyway. If you're listening, Walton Goggins goggle glasses. Yeah. Send a free pair to Jay, and he will market them.
I will wear them. I will wear them every episode. I will have them on just sitting here completely in the dark with sunglasses on. So yeah.
All right. Well, so if you guys get the opportunity, absolutely see the rip. If you have a Netflix account, no excuse not to watch the rip. It is absolutely highly worth your time. I don't care what kind of movies you're into. I think there will be something here that you can sink your teeth in and you will love.
Speaking of Netflix, they also added the entire James Bond collection.
I did see that. Yeah, all the way from Dr. No to No Time to Die and everything in between.
Speaking of no excuses, Mr. Mason.
Yes. Well, if I recall, because I brought up that Whitney and I wanted to go back and watch those, and there was somebody, one of the co-hosts that I've had for this show, I can't remember which one it was. I've only had one that was supposed to compile a list of all of the recommendations that Whitney and I were supposed to go through and watch.
Which I did indeed do. I just have not sent it to you. In fact, it's on a Google Doc.
Get on that.
Yeah.
And
anyway.
Now we have a means to do so.
Yeah. So anyway, man, that's all I got.
Yeah, that's all I have as well.
He-Man trailer dropped this week. It was really stupid short. I really don't think there was anything we could divine out of it that wasn't.
Yeah, this was
obvious.
The epitome of a teaser trailer where if you took out any of the like the title, like the stuff where it's like showing the title and all, I mean we're probably talking maybe 23, 24 seconds of any legit footage from the movie. There is very little to glean.
And although he was not He-Man.
Yes.
So.
And I was happy though to see that his hair looked not as stupid as I feared that it would.
Okay, good.
It doesn't look great, but it doesn't like curl. It doesn't curl in. He doesn't look like some little like Swedish girl or something like I feared that he would.
Not that I have a better solution for it, because I don't. But Skeletor maybe this is what they were going for. He looks super campy, like action figure campy.
So
yeah, I don't know.
That's my same concern with the Street Fighter movie. You know, whenever we watch the Game Awards and they dropped the first real trailer of that. And I know
I think they're going over the top.
They are.
They're going for that.
They are. That's what they're going.
Yeah,
exactly. That's what they're going for. But I'm just like, I just don't know if I can go along with it. Like sometimes it works, you know, and then sometimes it's Borderlands. And you know,
which, that is one movie I think we both can steadfastly agree on. Yeah, that was woo.
Yeah, sometimes you know, you say like, you know what, we're gonna go full camp, you know, and it pays off. You know, nothing comes to mind, but I know that there have been some. The One Piece show, the live action One Piece show.
I still haven't seen that, but
and that they went full camp, they went full on what it was in the anime, and it worked out. And then you have people that are like, we're going all in, and you get Borderlands. So you know, it could go one way or the other. I don't think that there's any chance that the Street Fighter turns out to be just okay. It's either going to be an incredibly fun time, or it's going to be atrocious.
And I'm absolutely okay with just a fun time.
I mean, I hope that's what we get. I think, but what I saw makes me think it's going to be atrocious.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I don't need anything crazy complex for that subject matter. If it's just a good time, I'm happy with it. Anything will be better than the Jean-Claude Van Damme one. Anyway, so
speaking of, I think Jean-Claude Van Damme is actually going to be an elusive target in Hitman coming up. So
yeah, I saw that listed on my Steam when I opened it last night. So yeah, that'll be cool.
But okay, there we go, guys. Thank you for joining us. Again, sorry for the lack of edited videos and stuff like that. Obviously, you know, I've been sick and dealing with family stuff, and Jay has been very sick. It's flu season, man. It's hitting us hard.
Yeah.
Hopefully, though, we're pulling ourselves back out. Like I said, I'm on the mend. Hopefully, by this time next week, I won't be coughing all over my mic and getting Jay sick through the power of the internet.
This whole weekend at home during the snowpocalypse is
pray for us on that one.
It's probably going to help.
Yeah, fingers crossed that we maintain power. ERCOT, let's see if we can hold on to that, because that was not good last time this happened. What was that, 2020? Yeah. Whenever it hit last time, 2021. It was 2020, right?
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Anyways, thank you so much, guys, for hanging out.
Thank you for a solid disagreeing session where we're still keep our friendship afterwards. Obviously, you disagreed with everything I said, and I disagreed with everything you said.
Yes.
But I appreciate your perspective, and you're not the only one that has yours, nor am I the only one that has mine. So just want to highlight that fact that I think it's cool we're able to do that. I appreciate it.
Exactly. Being friends means you love everybody through their bad opinions, just like I will love Jay through his bad opinions. So
and the same to you. Yeah.
Well, there you go. And so there you go. Not only did we have fun and we have some conversation on and enjoy the topics, but it was educational as well. We all learned something today. It was a moral. The more you know. So friendship is
murder
important,
is okay.
Yeah. Well, and apparently in the Star Trek universe, everybody thinks that murder should be okay and unpunishable.
It's not that bad.
It's awful.
I must leave you adieu.